Hey, morning, everybody. Hope your day is off to a good start. Probably a quick one today because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about. There's a lot kind of going on or still rolling. That whole Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal is still, developing. There's still more stuff coming out. One of the things that really popped up in discussions online yesterday was people were talking about how whether or not it was a data breach. And I tweeted out that it wasn't. And I'll put that tweet here in the video in post. But the reason why it's important to know that it wasn't a data breach, in my mind at least, is that when people think data breach, they think that somebody got hacked or there was a security violation or there was something at risk from somebody else. So if I trusted you with my data and there was a breach, you're at fault, not me. And it's not that I want to apply blame here, but I think it's really important to understand that what happened at the root of this scam or the root of this issue, where a third-party researcher had created a bunch of quizzes on Facebook that asked you for access to your profile. This was a number of years ago when not only could they ask you for your access to your profile, but that enabled them to essentially be you on Facebook, which meant they could also see your friends' profiles if your friend allowed that configuration. And at the time, the Facebook privacy settings were so tricky and so challenging. The terms of service were so confusing that a lot of people had this enabled. So by only having about 270,000 people sign up for this quiz, they got about 50 million profiles. Now, the reason why this isn't a data breach, because whether they understood it or not, users at the time had actually consented to this. Where the terms of service were broken was that the part of the terms of service for developers who built those applications was that you were only supposed to store that data for 24 hours and you weren't supposed to keep it longer than that or sell it or pass it along to somebody else. Now, in this case, that researcher did both. They both kept the data for longer than 24 hours, but they also passed it along to a third party, in this case, Cambridge Analytica. Now, from a security perspective, from a privacy perspective, as soon as the data is out there, it's out there. You see this, we saw this with the Uber breach, where they paid $100,000 as a bounty for people to clean up a breach previously. And we see this with Facebook's previous terms of services that you have to delete the data after 24 hours, the person who is harvesting it or the app owner. That's wishful thinking on the part of the entity of Facebook, in this case, of Uber in the other case. As you well know, viewer, when you're working on digital data, it's very easy to replicate. It's easy to copy. In fact, our systems automatically make backups. You can't guarantee its destruction as a third party. Me, on my system, I can pretty much guarantee the destruction of my data, but as soon as I put it out somewhere else, it's out of my hands. And so it's basically wishful thinking, cover your ass kind of thinking, to have something like delete the data within 24 hours in the terms of service. So that's why I'm not calling it a data breach, because it was agreed to. Now, I think there's a massive problem with the one side of it, which has been fixed. Facebook no longer allows that sort of friend-of-friend network trolling or network graph hopping, and that was more for competitive reasons than privacy reasons. But then the second big problem that we really need to address here is clarity of user agreements to things. So if you are a user and you're agreeing to access for an application, I think it should be crystal clear in plain English, not in technical terms or legalese, in plain English, what you're actually agreeing to. And this has come up multiple times. So with Twitter, with LinkedIn, with Facebook, and with Google, you should regularly be reviewing what apps you've given access to your accounts, because more often than not, the access that apps use to your accounts doesn't really expire, or it expires on a really long basis. So once you've granted it, it sticks around for quite a while. And we've seen people abusing those tokens. We've seen apps changing their terms of service, because that's always in the terms of service, that the applications themselves have the ability to change the terms anytime they want, and you automatically agree to them. It's shady as all get out. It passes the legal smell test. Apparently, I don't think it passes the ethical one, but that's just basic terms of service for everything that we've agreed to. It's ridiculous. Users are very much not in power here. So that's an interesting issue that's continuing to bubble up, and I think there's a lot of work to be done in a lot of different areas there. No easy win in sight for you. Right now, the first thing you should be doing is reviewing third-party access to your Facebook, Google, Twitter, LinkedIn. Do that today. I'll try to put the links down low to help you out there, or put something on MarkNCA to help you out. The other thing I wanted to shout out, a little bit of a congratulations to security researcher and community member extraordinaire, Troy Hunt, out of Australia. He's a Microsoft MVP, independent consultant and trainer. He does a lot of work on Pluralsight, but he also runs haveibeenpwned.com. He had a great post today about the legitimization of that service, how he's walked that line around transparency and giving back to the community without going shady, which a lot of people in that sort of area have as far as servicing data breach. So Troy's service, invaluable, fantastic to see him be recognized. For you at home who aren't familiar with it, basically haveibeenpwned.com, again, I'll put the link down low, is a site that lets you go to check your email address to see if there is any data breaches involving that email address, so that you can say, hey, I got to change my passwords. We're seeing more and more applications and services and companies and organizations point people to this resource to help understand if their data's been out in the open or their credentials have been out in the open. Troy started this 4.5, almost 5 years ago now. It's really grown into a phenomenal service for the community, all off of Troy's goodwill. If you have a chance, donate to help him keep the site running, but also just kudos to Troy. Really appreciate what you do for the security community, what you're doing for users in general. I think we need more examples like Troy. I know he's someone I respect very much and look up to. Hopefully I'll run across him this year in various conferences and such and can tell him that in person. But in the meantime, kudos to him. A little shout out there. Other than that, that's what I really wanted to cover today. I hope everyone is having a great day. As always, looking to engage, talk to you online at MarkNCA. You can talk to me in the comments below as well. Happy to answer any questions or cover future topics here on Mornings with Mark or in a more formal video. Looking to put out those a little more regular than I have been. So hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.